Hello, hello. Looks like there's a new feature, by the way. The chat stays in the replay. If you want it or not. You can leave the chat in. Luke! What happened? What's going on? Hey, Marisha, hi. Yeah, so it looks like there's some new upgrades to... I've been doing okay. Well, it's been challenging. I'm not going to lie. It's been kind of... But whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And right now I can probably kick some serious Marvel ass. So it's been a thing. But great to see you. Yeah, today's topic is going to be a very interesting topic. Unless it cripples you. And you know what? I can't afford, and I'll tell you. I can't afford to get sick. I can't afford to die. So by default, I'm immortal, and it just is what it is. Unless I can't get up anymore, then it's about the only difference. True that. So try to stay positive as best we can. So yeah, it's nice to see you, Marisha. Good to see you here. Yeah, today's topic is a topic I thought of it this afternoon, and just to give you guys up to snuff, past couple of days we lost power. We had a big storm. It wasn't a snowstorm, blizzard type thing. It was just a big, huge wind and rainstorm. Desperation is motivation. Yeah, well, when you hit rock bottom, you only can climb up. So I've seen the bottom. I don't like it. So that's the direction I'm going. But yeah, so there was a big, huge power outage. We had an I think it was like, this time it was like, I don't know, something like 130,000 people that lost power, as opposed to the 300,000 people that lost power. So, but it was like a day and a half of no power, and then unsure if I'd be able to work or able to function or be able to, like warmth, warmth I'm pretty good in. I got fur and blankets and all that. But when it comes down to being able to keep your food cold or be able to cook, it's roughing it a bit. So we went from having that for a couple of days. Hey, Michael. We had that for a couple of days, and of course, just overall stress. Just a little heads up. If you are an empath or empathic, and anyone that's an empathic here today in the room, you feel and pick up a lot to varying degrees. And if you walk into a room that is either dysfunctional or negative, then you tend to pick up a lot of that juju, a lot of that negative juju, and get affected by it. So it's been rough. And the world today has become very, very divided. So, as you know, I humorously but sadly all at the same time call our lovely country the divided states of America. Because now you have to watch your posts, what you put up. You have to watch what happens. You have to watch what you talk about with your family. It's tough. It's turned into this apocalyptic, tough, fend for yourself kind of thing. So if you've seen my posts on social media, I don't talk about that stuff. I talk about uplifting and motivating and inspiring people, because we need more of that. We need to displace all this negative juju, all this negative, we need to send this off kilter back to a balance where it's a lot more positive, because it's rough. It's rough. So can you guys see me and hear me okay? Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Can you see me okay? Can you hear me okay? I want to make sure the tech is working. Also, too, I think I found a phone that would be able to... thank you. I think I found a phone, one of the newest phones that are coming out, that will be able to stand up to my tech scrutiny, because it's got to be able to hang and not get too messed up. So we'll see. So I'm still in the process of investigation mode for this phone. But hopefully it works out. It'll have plenty of processing power. It'll have plenty of RAM. Everything will be good, and hoping that it will be amazeballs, because I need it for when I'm doing journeys and I'm going to different locations, because that's what I'm looking forward to in the spring, is getting to more locations, doing more, seeing more, talking to more people, bringing in guests. There's a lot on the designing table for Insight with Moonshadow. So hopefully you stay tuned, and hopefully you stick around for the ride, because I want to say hopefully it'll be very, very worth your time, and it'll be entertaining, and it will be mind expanding if possible. I hope. Fingers crossed. So yeah. So how's everyone doing today? Before we start the show, hope everyone's doing well. It's good to see some people we haven't seen in a while. Luke, and then Marisha, it's always nice to see you. And of course we have Ariel, trusty producer. Michael from the cold area of Minnesota, don't you know? Hey, you like it? It's called adaptation. You adapt. And believe me, we're working on that too. I'm working on staging on when I do live stream from home, to have a couple of different spots to keep it interesting as well, to have a backdrop. And this isn't a green screen. This is legit physical reality. Yeah, it's not bad. I think it's all right. It's a little, what's the word for it? It's colorful. I actually use this to cover my table when I do my psychic gigs, when I go to shows, when I do psychic shows and things like that. That's what I usually use on the table, and then nothing too flashy. Yeah. No, I am home, but this was an experiment, and this experiment seems to work. But yes, I'm looking at next poor person green screen. Hey, but that was pretty snazzy though, Michael. You know, I'll tell you, as far as green screens go, I will say, you can get a good quality green screen, but it costs you a lot of money. And even then, unless you spend a considerable amount of money, even the green screen, the background still kind of looks a little funny, if you notice. Like the weather, obviously the networks have a pretty good green screen, like the weather people, you know, the meteorologists, they have a pretty nice green screen. Oh, thank you. I agree. I think that I would rather be in the place. I'd rather actually be there. I'd rather make a live green screen. So it's like, hey, guess what? I'm in the mountains, and you see flipping mountains behind me. I like that, you know. Or I'm by the beach, and here's the beach, and you hear the waves, and you do that, and it's messy. It's a bit of a learning curve, because you have to deal with Mother Nature. You have to deal with that, but I really enjoy it. So the high-tech portion of things, it's great, but I want to try to keep it mobile. I want to try to keep it light. I want to be able to travel anywhere and set up with this setup. Right. Exactly. And I have a good laptop, but the whole thing is the right software, and you have to set it. It's a lot of managing it. Very true. And coming up in spring, there's got to be so many spots too. I have a lot of plans coming up for a lot of things. It could be, what brought me to it was movie critiques, you know, bring that up. And every now and then doing restaurant reviews right from the restaurant. Maybe potentially talking to the chef or the owner, because in West Coast Wanderlust, which you will see soon, I did interviews with the owners of a few establishments when I was out in Virginia City and Sierraville, Nevada. So that I think that would be really, really, really nice. So there's a lot of other things that will incorporate mindfulness in the sense of, if you are someone that's an influencer, you could be an influencer. Yep, Sierraville, California, and thank you for the correction, appreciate it. But Sierraville, California. But what you can do is, if you could be an influencer and be like Chef Andres, right? For example, like I have to give big props out to Chef Andres. I believe his name is Jose Andres, and he's still working in Puerto Rico, where they have been, after the news has gone by, he's still helping. He's still doing what he could for those people that still, to this day, a lot of people in the mountains do not have electricity. So unless you live in the main city, you still may be living in ruins. And there's my mother. Hello, Mama. Everyone's in the room now. So looking at it from that perspective, it doesn't matter if you are a guru, a yogi person, you're into yoga, or you're into meditation, or if you, any of that. It's, if you are someone that really wants to make the world a better place, I would love to talk to you. Ask you what your take of things are. How are you doing things? You know, what's your style of trying to make the world a better place? That kind of thing. Some people, it could be around food. Some people, it could be around entertainment. Some people, it could be a lot of things. And if you look at, like, even Hollywood, as much as we put Hollywood as an artificial filter, they're real actors and real people with blood gushing through their veins that matter and want the world to be a better place too. So if you think about it from that perspective, a lot of celebrities are activists. A lot of people like Bono, like Richard Branson, he doesn't have to worry about a penny of money. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to worry about anything. He's got abundance left and right. But he's focusing on wanting to make the world a better place and wanting to make things better. So I have to say, I have to give props for people, young and old, rich and poor, that nowadays, because of everything that's happening, they're getting to social media, they're live streaming more, they're getting to the front line of things, and that is incredible. So I have to, I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough that I see it every day. I see it every day. People are stepping up and they're doing something. So whether you're a teacher, you're fighting for your kids' best, if you're looking at people that, you don't even have to be in the Peace Corps, anything like that. It doesn't have to be a legit job, career, or vocation. You are out there, and a lot of people are out there doing real good out there, not because society deems it so, because it's deep in their heart for them to actually do good, do the right thing, and that's the human good right thing, and that's what's important. And so I give mad props to anyone that steps up and voices their opinion, even though people may not agree with them, that step up and speak for the cause or causes or charity. As an example, and this one is near and dear to my heart too. You have water.org, which you have Matt Damon, that he is a co-founder. He's the founder or co-founder of water.org. And if you buy, like, say for example, you buy one Stella Artois chalice glass, that's 5 years of water. And no, I'm not getting any kind of kickback or any kind of recognition from water.org. Okay? Yep. And then my mother is a big, big fan of Oprah. Oprah's another one that she is very much, she brings in a lot of great authors and people that want to make the world a better place as well. So yeah, and exactly. So now water.org, something as simple as that. And I'm going to try not to jump on a soapbox, even though it is possible, forewarning. Spoiler alert. Yeah, not sponsored. I need some sponsoring, but no. But as an example, we live in a world where we have food rotting because they want food to be a certain cost, a certain price. They want to make certain profit. They have some grain rotting. They have food that rots because they don't want the price of food to go down. And this is legit. You can look at it. You can look it up. You can research this. We do not have to have homeless people. We do not have to have people that are hungry. We have land that could be utilized for renewable resources, for wind power, for solar. We have the ability to feed people, to house people. But unfortunately, enough of the people that have some form of power, i.e. not us at the moment, we'd have to gain the majority of a lot of things. We're the ones that have to make the change. We have to bring it back to we the people. We have to bring it back. So this is what inspired me for today's topic. And I hope you enjoy the topic as much as it inspired me to bring it up. Because with a lot of this, the way the world has been as in the past year or a couple of years, and it's been bad. It's been bad. Well, you know what? Let's formally start the show. I'm already getting into it. That's how great the topic is today. But let's start the show. So I want to say thank you for everyone that's here. I'm so glad you came here. I know it's running late. Power outage, stress, life stuff. It's messy, but thank you for being here. I really appreciate and love you all for being here. Okay. Welcome to Insight with Moonshadow. I'm Moonshadow. I'm an Integrative Holistic Therapist, CHI-vangelist, earthy, crunchy guy, and overall just a spirit having a human experience in the world today. Now, today's topic, we have an interesting topic today, and it was inspiring to me because of all these movements, the way the world is today. We have so many things that are happening. We have so many different charities and movements and people speaking up, about the immigrants, speaking up about conservation, speaking up about renewables, speaking for science. A lot of these movements came up because the world has become so divided. We have not been the most popular corner of the world in a while. And just to let you know, it's really not the people. People don't dislike the people. They're disliking how it's being run right now. And I'm not going to get into that kind of rant because those people that are twisted and not doing the job correctly do not deserve any energy going to them. So I'm going to leave that aside. But they did inspire a lot of topics. I have to say they did inspire a lot of charities and a lot of movements. You have the Me Too movement. You have people still fighting for education, still fighting for Puerto Rico. You have people that are still fighting for conservation, fighting for science, global warming. A lot of these movements were needed to be brought to the forefront. So if there's any kind of dysfunction, if there's any good. Yep, and then there's DACA, absolutely. Because this world was built on the sweat, blood of immigrants. I myself am the first generation American-born immigrant in this country. Now my parents and my grandparents came over legally, but that should not matter. Whether it's documented or undocumented, there are a lot of people that broke their backs on building this country. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if they're documented or no. There are people in this world that are too damn lazy to mow their own lawns and to raise their own kids. And I'll tell you, a lot of those people have given jobs to documented and undocumented people. Just letting you know, a little moonsight for you. So unless you want to do your lawn, unless you want to raise your kids, I was raised by my family. Takes a village to raise a child. But if you're going to be one of those people, and no judging, I'm not judging or criticizing, I'm saying that's your choice. I'd rather choose on being an important, integral part of, if I had children, of raising them. All I can say. But today's topic came about because I was thinking and trying to, and every week I really intuit a topic. So if my guides will bring in, it's almost, to be honest, I probably would say it's divine intervention, a lot of the topics that come up. So I may say I pull them out of my butt, and sometimes I do. But sometimes as well, these topics just need to be spoken about. Now, with all the movements that we have the Me Too movement, we have the fight against, the fight for immigrants, we have the fight for water, for hunger, for housing, for the homeless, for the veterans. For all of this, there's been something that has been looming and it's been problematic for quite some time. The Me Too movement came up where women are not getting paid as much as a man. They are actually getting paid a third less than a man, even though they can do the job and fulfill the job the same as a male. Gender, whether you have breasts or a penis, should not make a difference on whether you can or cannot do the job. I actually have met women that are probably better soldiers or better at traditional male jobs. And again, to me, it doesn't make a difference. If you can do the job well, then you should get paid accordingly. I'm a firm believer in, an honest day's pay for an honest day's work. So I'm a firm believer in that. However, in this case, this topic today is the fact that, and I stand, and I will, before I start this, I will say I stand absolutely by every single woman and girl that are fighting for their lives right now, to maintain their rights and maintain, to fight for being equal, because it's always been equal, even though they're not treated as such. There are countries that women are treated like second-class citizens that can't wear certain things or can't do certain things or are oppressed, manipulated. Even some, recently, I think it was in. I'm not sure now. I don't want to be inaccurate with my information. But yes, we do stand together. Was it Egypt? It's a Middle Eastern country. Women just started to learn how to drive. They just were able to actually drive cars now. Now, I've been driving a car since I was 16. Now, you see all these gray hairs? Okay, that's been a long freaking time. That's 67 I was born. So you know what? Women should be able to vote. Women should be able to drive. It doesn't matter what color, how tall, how little, how small. It shouldn't matter. All of us should have our rights, and it's not a privilege. Some people will say, privilege, it's a privilege to be able to own a house. No, by right, you are in this world. You should have a place to live. You should feel safe. You should have food in your belly. You should be able to feel safe and loved. There you go, Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much. We have Ariel, our trusty producer. So Saudi Arabia. So this is the thing. So women and minorities have gotten a lot of crap recently because certain people want to bring it back to the dark ages of when it was supposedly better. Now this puts a dark stain on one gender, and I'd like to address that. So today's topic is about men. It's about being a man. And what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a real man? Now this, I'm very, very glad we got Michael in the house. We got Luke hopefully still here because I want your input too. Anyone that's in here, women, women or man, there you go. There you go. Absolutely. And free internet. Internet shouldn't be something where they're holding it above our heads and holding us hostage to be able to have electricity and heat. Again, I know this firsthand because I myself were, like net neutrality. What is that? It seems that this has been in power way too long, big pharma and all that. And again, I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but it's unfortunate that if you are the top elite or make really good money, that you have a say and everyone else doesn't. I can't agree. Because without us, without people running your corporate machine, you're not making squat. You're not making one damn penny because you're not going to get off your lazy leather or pleather armchair to do the work. You probably don't remember what work was. Yeah, sorry for the dig, but sorry, not sorry. Some CEOs, I will say, do work as leaders and not bosses. So I will give a big shout out to them. However, there are some people that think that commanding and being a dictator is the way to go. It's the art of the steal. No pun intended. But, here we go. So now, what is it to be a man? Now, we were raised way back, well, I was raised, at my age, I was raised with a nuclear family. At the time, it was, you have the mom, you have the dad, and you have the one or two kids, usually 4 people who were the core matrix of a family. Usually, if you were blessed, it would be a boy and a girl and a mom and a dad. And a dad would go out and fend for themselves, no different than cavemen, and they'd be the hunter-gatherers, and then, of course, the moms would be there to rear the children and raise the children. This has been going on for a long, long time. Well, things have changed. I saw a post recently, and it really bothered me, actually. It bothered me because of the fact that some men were complaining. I feel emasculated. I feel emasculated because I can't be a man. Because women are feminist Nazis. Blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm paraphrasing. However, almost anything, if said long enough or loud enough, can become truth. Almost anything. If someone believes a lie long enough, then it's true. Is it true? No. It really isn't true. However, now I have a different take on what makes a man and a woman. And it's a little more gray than some people may believe. I have met women that career women, and I've met Mr. Moms. So that's just a little hint for you. So to you, the people in the room, I'm going to ask this question and bring it up into the chat. To you, what is a man? What are the qualities of a man, specifically? What do you feel is the responsibilities of a man? Now, granted, this is a no judgment, no criticism zone. So you could say what you want. I am not going to censor you. We all have our own belief. We all have our own our ideals. We all have our own thoughts and schools of thought. So to you, what do you feel is a man? Oh yeah, Marissa, we brought it on. We brought it. This is a hot button topic. This is a hot button topic. She's like, I came on the wrong day, ruh-roh. But I want to say no. Marissa, you came on the right time. Just a little heads up. Marissa she's someone that educates educators and is a big advocate for children and how they're raised and how they're taught. Yeah, you came in on a good day. That's what I say. Any day is a good day. And so now we were raised with that nuclear family type thing. Like, even if you look back at the movie Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser, he was raised in a fallout shelter with Christopher Walken and his dad, and I'm not remembering his mom at the moment, but also a very big actress. Okay, now Luke's saying here, a real man gets hurt, puts some tape on it, and gets back out there. Right? Okay. And also Marissa's saying, I'd love to hear other people's perspective on gender roles. Definitely. And this is why the topic is what the topic is today. So in Blast from the Past, he is raised in like the 1930s, right? It's like nuclear family, old school. They were raised on, having a pantry full of cans and everything is going like Depression era type mentality. And to this day, believe it or not, there is still that mentality. People still think that way. Not so much the younger people, because that's changing with the generation, obviously. But there's still a lot of people out there. Well, see, well then, Luke, we're all men. That's just grit. Yes, but see, this is the thing. I'm glad you said that. No, Luke. They're not going to burn you. This is a respectful space. This little rectangle here is a respectable. I'm going to do this. Is a respectable place. I believe. Now I'm going to start it. I'm going to light the fire into myself. I believe that there are roles. It's a gray area nowadays for sure, but there are roles that men and women can be equally strong. I do believe that there is strength on both. I believe there's grit on both. They may demonstrate a little differently because of how society, and this is why I'm kind of against society a bit, I'm lying. I'm against society a lot, and it is a dialogue. If you notice, whenever I put it out there, whenever I plug the show, I say join in on the conversation. So this is freaking fantastic that you guys are here, and I'm so glad that you guys are here joining in the conversation and the dialogue. It's very important. We'll all learn something new. We'll all learn something new today. And it's funny because there are some people that have said, oh, I missed your workshop or I missed your class last week. Interesting. Because I think that there's always a takeaway from our conversation. There's always a takeaway from these topics. So now, what is the difference? Now, I'm glad you said that, Luke, because I believe that it's very gray now. It's very gray, where now we have more broken families, and I say broken, and I'm kind of on the fence with saying broken, but I'm going to say alternative families. I'm going to say that instead. Not because I want to be politically correct, just because I don't want it to sometimes you're just involved with the wrong person. Just sometimes people grow apart. We can't judge and criticize every single relationship that's ever happened since the dawn of man. So I'm not gonna put down this judgmental hammer saying, "What if you haven't been married to the same person forever?" In the grand scheme of things, yes, you want to fall in love once, you want to marry, you want to have kids with that person and only have kids with that person and live a wonderful life and be perfect and all that's good. That's not the world and that's not real. That's not genuine. So we have a lot of people that come in from blended families and alternative families. A lot of people that adopt their children if they can't have children. So the idea of family has changed drastically. And I believe also too, the roles, gender roles have also changed. I have spoken Yes, okay, now let's see here. Now, Marissa's saying you have to remember a nuclear family was a characteristic of families of the Anglo kind. There was no cultural recognition that has extended families, blended, etc. Yes, exactly. Now, see, this is the funny thing. And thank you for pointing that, Marissa, because that is an Anglo, that was an Anglo representation. I was raised in a very European tradition. The very European tradition, you do not kick your children out when they're 17 years old. You don't throw them out to the wolves when they're 16, 17. You don't say toughen up too damn bad. You don't tell your little boys, don't cry or I'll make you cry. Again, just my opinion. And my opinion may not be subjective to other people's opinions. So if you have a different opinion, that's perfectly okay. However, I believe that we are emotional beings. Doesn't matter if you're a boy or you're a girl. So, you want to cry, cry. I think there's a strength in vulnerability. And if you can ask anybody in this room that's known me longer than a few minutes and has had a conversation with me, I have broken down more than once on this show. I'm not proud of it, but I'm also not embarrassed by it. It happened exactly because it was supposed to. But think about this. Now, if you bring it over to the European standard, or if you bring it over to other countries, the idea of family is very, very different. Right? Now, Ariel is saying here, I think gender roles have a place somewhat, but I prefer it the way it is now, in a sense of men being more supportive emotionally and women being more supported in having the role of breadwinner. Now, I believe, you know what? I agree. I also believe that we all need bread. So let's just say, for example, you have a dad and you have a mom. And the mom actually gets a really good gig where she gets paid good money. Now, you know what? Unfortunately, daycare costs a lot more money than it is to actually work. Right? Now, Marissa's saying, correct, Moon, it's awesome when we have our elders still living with us or us living with them, with our family, etc. Because I'll tell you, there's some form of value. There is a lesson. And I'll tell you, this is why I say I'm anti-society and more towards being tribal. Because this is how natives work. A lot of native people, and you can go back to the Aztecs, you can go back to that. Everyone had their job. Everyone had their job, right? However, they were still a family. Everybody. You know that saying I said earlier, it takes a village to raise a child. It was a village. It was a village's job to raise every child. Even elephants, for God's sakes, even elephants will take care of and adopt other abandoned elephants if something happens to the parent. We are not superior. If these quote-unquote animals know better how to, circle around the young, they're not circling around just theirs. They're circling around all of them. All of the weak. It's not like, well, you're old, you're done, see ya, push them out so the cheetahs can get you. This is my point. So now, in a tribal mentality, and okay, there was good and bad in everything. I'm not going to say everything is perfect because there is no actual perfection. We can only try to achieve as close to balanced as possible. There's good and bad, there's light and dark, there's all of that. And that's a topic for another day. But in the tribal mentality or the tribal dynamic, you would have children, they play, they learn things as they're playing. They'd learn how to hunt and they'd learn how to do crafts and they'd learn how to do all these things. Similar to Montessori schools of now, Waldorf schools of today, which have been around for a long time. But also, too, as they got older, when they got to the point of where you have people that have bar mitzvahs, rites of passage, where now you get the sweet 16s and all that stuff, you are the in-between, the tween age, right? You're not a youngster, you're not old, you don't really have a whole lot of rights to do whatever, but you're in training. Right? So what happens? So now when these children, they would be sent out on a vision quest. So they could build their character, so they could learn how to be a crucial part of the tribe, of the village. So now let's say, for example, you're a hunter-gatherer and you're getting old. Your physicality, your physical being isn't as strong as it used to be. So what would happen? You'd become an elder. You'd become a storyteller. You would help keep the tribe or village grounded. You would teach in the old way. There was no amending books. There was no omitting history. It was an oral history. They would tell you the story of how the tribe came to be, the idea of creation, what has happened, and they would tell them and they would tell them the same story. And I'm sure that it would get, it could get a little wibbly wobbly, the story, I'm sure, because with oral tradition, it's not all written down. But the point is, that's what the elder's job would be. So now if you look at an alternative to the nuclear family, if you look at the alternative to that, a lot of people are raised. Like I'm a godfather and I'm an uncle. And I will step up and I'll tell my niece, or I'll tell my godson, my godnephew, because he's both, I will, say, give them some advice, or I will, try to give them little, nuggets of wisdom the best I can. Why? Because I was given also wisdom from my elders. And that's your job as you get older. So you wonder why, and also too, just as a side note, and I know I'm going off topic for a second, you look at the strength and ferocity. And I'm using ferocity, the persistence, the determination of these kids. They can't even vote, and they're stepping up because they want to be safe. So big props to you. You're not doing it for social media. You're not doing it for Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook. You're not doing it for attention. You're doing it because you're seeing that your world is going to hell in a handbasket and you need to step up because the grown-ups are not doing their job. Good for you. Maybe we can learn a little bit. And I will tell you, I've learned quite a lot of wisdom. I've learned a lot of wisdom from young ones, from animals, from nature, all types. And from people that you would think as throwaways, homeless people, veterans that have dementia. I've learned a lot from different people. Why? Because you listen. Everyone has a story. So big props to the kids from, I'm forgetting the full name of the school, so I'm not going to butcher it. But you have all the schools with all these shootings that have happened. And at this point, you grow numb. You grow numb with watching the news. I'll watch the news for maybe about 3 minutes, if that. You get 3 minutes of news stream and you're done. Because they're going to use that 3 minutes all day until it becomes the next thing. And then the next thing comes up and then no longer. So that's why I brought up Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico, after, FEMA isn't really, it's not a big news topic now, but people are still affected in Puerto Rico. So it's a given. So whether or not cameras are there, whether or not it's a newsworthy item, people are stepping up. And now kids are stepping up. And I have to give them lots of light and love and lots of support, because you know what? This is your world too. You're walking into this. You're inheriting this. You're inheriting this, man. I'll tell you. It's not easy. So it's going to take a lot of people to save this. It's going to take a lot of people to save the world and make this a better place. Not just a handful of people. It's going to take a lot of people. And this is why I'm glad and I stand for when people come up with, the Me Too movement and the Time's Up and make people accountable, make people in charge accountable, I think that is just the way it should be. Because we're being made accountable. We're being told to be accountable. So now going back to the non-nuclear version of family, there's also extended family. A lot of you, when I didn't, just as an example, just over the last couple of days, a small few of you knew what I was going through, or didn't even know fully, but knew something was wrong, something was up, and reached out in some way, some form. Sometimes it's intuitive. It's like, Moon, just popped in my head. You all right? And I want to say thank you for that. But this is a big part of it, is that there's extended family now. It's not just mom and daddy families now. Now you have daddy families. You got mommy families. And again, not judging and not criticizing. Because you know what? If a child is raised with love, to me, a child is raised with love. It's that simple. It's that simple. I knew this from a very young age when I first saw two men holding hands. And I was younger than 5 at the time. And I believed it then. And I never saw it. I just knew the energy. I was just familiar with knowing what two people that care for each other look like. So it doesn't matter. And now we have gender, talk about gender roles and genders. Now we have a whole different ball of wax in the forefront, in the mainstream. Is there anything wrong with it? No. However, anyone that does not understand or is intolerant, they're going to automatically want to say, well, this is not right. Well, then, have you walked a mile in their shoes? Do you know what it's like? Do you know what it's like to be, a black woman or black man that has to use a different bathroom because they think you're dirty? Do you? Do you know what it feels like? Well, lucky we don't have to know what it feels like. Do you know what it feels like to be treated as hired help in the way of, oh, they just, pick this, or they just do that, or they just mow my lawn, or they just, fix whatever outside, There are people that have been called terrorists that did not deserve that label. There are people that have been criticized and called rapists, and they weren't. You can't lump a whole people into that. And this is the world we are in today. So this is why the topic of speaking about what is a man. Are we emasculated? I want to say no, you know what I mean? I was raised with the way of being emotional, and again, being empathic, it also makes a big difference. I'm an empath, so I feel things. It is what it is. I've been doing this ever since I was young. When I was young, when I was in Catholic school, and yes, it worked really. I'm not really big on organized religion either, even though I'm a minister and stuff, but we'd have field trips going to nursing homes, and I'd be able to smell death. I knew whose number was coming up. Now, to be a young child and to be bombarded by this kind of gift/curse/ability is not an easy road. It's not an easy path. So, do I feel that if I want to go on a date, I have to go up to someone, hit them over the head with a bat, and drag them to a restaurant? No, I think I'd prefer saying, hey, I would love to say hi and, hey, want to grab a bite to eat? Kind of saves the bloodshed, doesn't it? Makes a difference. So emasculation, I don't think so. I think a lot of that is just propaganda for whatever they choose to do. Anyone, that does not want to be understanding or tolerant of other people or other things they don't know. Now, all of us, we don't know everything, right? It's true. If we knew everything, I myself, I'd be wearing a turban on the top of a mountaintop, visualizing God's beautiful nature, and people would hike up a mountain to see me, to ask me, "Oh, Moonshadow, give me your wisdom." It'd kind of be lonely, actually. I'd have to have really good Wi-Fi. Thinking. But I'd have to be social. But see, that's the whole point. None of us have that type of perfection. None of us are there. We try to aspire to be the best versions of ourselves. So now, where does it fit in? Being a male in this. Now, it could be you look at it from that perspective and go, oh, this Me Too movement. Well, why don't they just blah, blah, why didn't they say something earlier? Or why do they have to show as victims and things like that? Well, I don't believe they're showing themselves as victims. I believe that they've had enough. So, very much like the expression, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, I believe in the same way that we need to speak up. We need to make the changes. Perfect example. You have, like, even roles like, and I'm going to lighten it up just a touch and bring it up to say, like, okay, you have Vin Diesel that did the Pacifier movie, right? Look at the storyline there. Big badass, I think it was a Navy SEAL, all of that. And what happens? He goes on assignment to help a bunch of kids and a family to retrieve this program, right? But what does he find out? He actually protects them, but they actually teach him a lot. That role was switched too. That was brought askew as well. So this big bad Navy SEAL guy that we'd be like, oh, it must be heartless because all they do is this job and this is it and this is how they're labeled. He turns out to have a friend that's a goose named Gary. Okay? Dwayne The Rock is also another one. There are a lot of people where we look at, and again, I believe that a man should be strong. I believe a woman is strong. I believe strength is different on both genders, but strength is strength. It doesn't make a difference. So, I applaud anyone that may not be part of that is part of a movement, even though that they're not experiencing that movement at the time. They're not in it, but they understand it. They want to support it. That's the important thing. If we did more of that, if we understood and if we walked a mile in another one's shoes, if we did that for a minute, before laying down judgment, before laying down criticism, the world would be a better place. This is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. This is an absolute no-brainer if you really think about it. So yes, you know what? I'll tell you. I myself in my own childhood, my father was the breadwinner and worked, and my mother also worked. I was raised by both of them. There was a lot of family time involved before my father passed away. He fought for us to be together. He loved having his family around. It wasn't a broken or segregated or separated or any kind of family. My parents did the best with what they have. And again, there is no owner's manual to parenthood. But the fact is, you do the best you can. That's the important thing. So now looking at it from what makes a man, is it wrong to be emotional? No. But also, too, I will say, is it wrong to open the car door for a lady? No. Just because it's like, well, if you want equal rights. What? I've been told I do this often, and I don't want to do that. So I have to do it differently. I've been told I go into a particular accent when I depict certain people, and I don't mean to. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going to go into an accent. But if someone says, if they want equal rights, then why don't they open the door for me? I deserve respect. Oh, see, I just did it again. I deserve respect. I can go into a Sean Connery accent or something. But ultimately, this is the deal. Why does it have to be black and white? Why does it have to be one is more powerful than the other? Why does it have to be one is more emotional than the other? Now, here's a quick little moonsight for you guys. Whether you're a man or a woman, you're both. We were born, primarily, we're born as female. And I know some girls are going to be going crazy over this. They'll be like, yes, yes, yes. And yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Okay. But you're born and you're technically no gender, and then you are female, and then you become male. And then sometimes you become both, which is all good in the world. It's all about adjustment then. It's all about adapting. It's all about where you go from that. Hopefully, you have a supportive family, and hopefully you move forward into a good, supportive, balanced, nurturing family. Therefore, you become the best human being you could be, your best version. But that's how it starts. We start off as female. So we are polar. We have both. We have both male and female. You have yin and yang. All of that. All these energies are within us. So I have seen multiple times, I've seen guys that look at little kids, and I'm one of them. You look at a little kid, and all of a sudden it just melts your heart. Does that mean you're less than a man? Because you're like, you show weakness because you see a cute kid or a puppy? No. It just means you feel. And I have seen this. I have seen this quite often, where little girls get more attention, little boys don't get as much attention. Oh, come on, you could do this. Come on, get up. You're not a wimp. There's ways you can do that with both kids, with girls and boys. As an example, my niece, by accident, had gotten hurt, and she was upset. She cried, and I didn't catch the whole thing, but afterwards she was still hurt, and she was still kind of upset and that kind of thing. So I was like, "What happened?" And she told me what happened, and it was something she did. She initiated this activity, so she got hurt on her own because she is younger, but she thinks she's badass and she could do everything. So what happened? So I went, did it make this sound? Did it go blah, 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 blah? And that kind of thing. She looks at me and starts laughing. Now, everyone has a different method. People could have been like, are you okay? Are you all right? And they could have been the opposite, the polar opposite of, oh, you're fine. Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. You didn't lose an eye, kid. I chose the coyote medicine side. Did it make a noise? Because I knew she was okay. And she wants to, I'll tell you, my niece, she should be a reality show star. No doubt. Because she's like a one-kid show. She's all of Nickelodeon and Disney all at the same time with the stuff that she comes up with. She's a rock star, and I knew she was a rock star before she was born. I already knew she was going to be a rock star. But the thing is, it's how you manage this. So when you look at a man opening a door for a woman, in my book, that means respect. That means you're given respect. It's that simple. So there are certain things, I'm probably a hybrid of old school and new school, where opening the door for someone and treating a woman with respect and holding a woman higher is important. And that's old school thinking. The mother of your children deserves respect because she carried them for 9 months. Now, granted, you helped. I will also say, too, there are some people that say the bond of the mother and the child is better than the bond of the father and the child. Well, I have to disagree only because it really takes the mom and the dad to raise, or both energies to really, really raise. Now, I said energies, so it doesn't matter if it's girl, guy, girl, guy, grandparents, whatever it is. It's those two energies. Because that's really what it's all about. So if you think about it from that perspective, ultimately, we want to raise children so they could be the best versions of themselves and better us and become better than who we are. Because they're the ones that are going to carry it on. We're going to get old. We're going to become dust. These carcasses are going to rot away, and our souls will be freed. Then it's up to the next generation. I have to say, my hope was restored with these kids coming up. My hope was definitely restored with them coming up and wanting rules to change and wanting common sense laws. I believe that most laws should be common sense. They shouldn't be only good for certain people and oppressive to others. And I'm not getting into that. That's a hot button topic that can cause a lot of problems. But the nature of it, the foundation, the groundwork of it, it should be common sense. If you respect people, you're not going to do anything to harm them. If you honor people, then you're going to know. You're just going to be polite. You're going to do the right thing, not because society tells you to. You're going to just do the right thing. These are all incredibly important values. So there are some values from the old traditional ways, whether it be European, whether it be, South American, whether it be Anglo, whatever. There are some values there, some family values, and some tribal values. I'm not going to even say societal values, because that's been so twisted and so diluted and so warped. We as a people, and I say we as understood, we as a people have destroyed ourselves and our environment millions of times over. Millions of times over. We do it all the time. The Greeks did it, the Romans did it. We continue doing it. It's like, oh, what, coal's going to last forever. Let's bring coal back. All right, sure. That's like saying, let's bring disco back. Please don't bring disco back. That was bad juju for men. Women look cute in the outfits. Men, not so much. Just saying. So no disco. That's the only thing I can't. No, please. However, but the thing is this. There are values that are here, that we are raised with, and there are values that are built on good tenets of good behavior and being a good human being, about being a good person, being a good soul. And I think if you live divinely, if you look at things from a spiritual standpoint, I believe that's what the Creator would want from us, because we're all part of the Creator. We're the Creator's children. We co-create with the Creator. Now that in itself could be a hot button topic too. Just saying. But it's true. So it's up to us to be responsible to raise the next generation. It's up to us not to, perpetuate more hate. It's up to us to look at families and look at society and really understand what is needed. No minority should be repressed or treated poorly. None. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, even, I'll tell you, and this is the thing that gets to me. Even when movies get overly politicized. Now, I have not seen Black Panther yet. I haven't. I'm so dying to see it, so please don't throw any spoilers up into the chat. But I want to see that movie real bad. Also, The Lion King was an amazing movie, and I learned a lot of wisdom from The Lion King. However, now, even they politicized that. Now, there have been black heroes or African American heroes, superheroes. Now they get the limelight with Black Panther. Good for you. You know what I mean? Like, I have a Black Panther comic from when I was so tall. One of the beginning ones way back when comics were probably like 5-10 cents. But the thing was this. Why not let them have it? From what I heard, it's a phenomenal movie, incredibly casted. Just the energy is amazing. It's just and it touches subject matter which might tweak people potentially. Don't overly politicize it. We overly politicize everything. Everything is this and that. So if someone says one thing, I was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's like we get overly politically correct sometimes. Then I'll just find the happy medium here. Let's find the balancing point of that. I think that's the important thing. Try not to offend people. Geez, I know more Portuguese jokes than you can imagine, and it doesn't really put the Portuguese in a very good light, I gotta tell you. But they're my people, so I can make fun. I'm making fun of me too. So there. But the point is, it's gotten to the point where now everything gets politicized. Everything in social media, everyone has to say something, and you get it from both sides, and you get it from both extremes, and people don't necessarily say, oh, okay, well, that post, what did that person go through to put that post up? And try to see that person's point of view. You may not agree. So when I saw this thing with men being emasculated and women, these feminist women are trying to take over and this and that, I was like, you don't get it. If you treat people with respect and honor, this won't happen. If you pay someone fairly for their work, this won't happen. If you don't cause someone to be desperate, they won't do anything to harm another. Not within reason. Some people just go off the reservation. Some people go, they're not well. Some people are there. I believe there could be people that are unfortunately dominated by lesser than good energy. It's unfortunate, but it's true. So as you know, I've mentioned it before about the two wolves parable. It's the wolf that you feed. You want to feed the good wolf, you would feed the bad wolf. You want to feed the wolf that provides, that is all about good and about love and about unity, or the one that's about divisiveness and about segregation and about harm. So it depends on the wolf you feed. Some people feed the wrong wolf. But looking at it from this perspective, there's a lot that needs to be done And I am really, really glad that gender has come up. I'm glad that people have stepped up to say, okay, look, doesn't matter. And this is something this is not new. This is not new school, people. The natives had 5 different genders. So you talk about man and woman, want to complicate it more? How about man, woman, and man, woman together in the same body? They called them 2 spirits. And they were regarded and honored, by the way. Just letting you know. They weren't treated with hate. They weren't thrown into a desert island or treated poorly. They weren't, none of that. None of them. Because back then, they knew that they were energy is energy, souls are souls, and sometimes your soul does not necessarily match your physical body. So now, looking at it from the point of man, and I know that we're coming up to almost an hour, so we're going to bring it to a close shortly. But so what is it to be a man in this day and age, 2018? Is it right or wrong to open the door for a woman? Is she going to be offended because you open the door for her? Well, she might be. But to me, I think it all depends on the intention. I respect you and I honor you, and I want you to be uplifted as an important part of the world. I want to open the door for you. That's a little wordy and that's a little long. But the point is, if you open the door for somebody, like I actually know, I can say one situation that one person I know did not feel comfortable because they were not raised with someone, a guy opening a door for them. I'm not even kidding. It's fact. And I'm like, this is just how I was raised. You show respect. You show respect to a female. You show respect to a girl. It's not like, hey, it's not like you treat them with respect. That's what you do. So what is it to be a man nowadays? Yes, you could raise children on your own. I've known single dads because the moms were challenged in one way, shape, or form. They weren't the better parent. I've seen moms that were the better parent, and the father was challenged, and he wasn't a big part of the child's life. And then, of course, there's divorce, and there's people that split up, and then there are people that adopt. But honestly, the basis to being a man today in 2018 is really not being emasculated, feminized, judged, intimidated, criminalized, politicized, or anything. As a man, in 2018, I'm not a young guy. I've been around for half a century. I will tell you this. I do not stand behind anyone that's going to treat someone else cruelly or demean someone, or to use their power or influence over their heads to force them to do anything. That is I am ashamed of those people. They are not thinking. They are not really looking at, and granted, they could have been brought up from a broken home. Get some help if you can, please, because, the bully of yesteryear can either become one of 3 things. When you're a bully, you could either become another bully, you could become a victim, or you could do it right. You could become well-adjusted. I suggest the third choice. Forcing anyone to do something for you, whether it be for monetary gain, whether it be to show that you're better than them or bigger than them. is actually doing the opposite. So I can't stand behind that kind of behavior. In fact, I feel kind of pity because they really need to get a major life lesson and be treated and thought of in the same way. And they probably are. It's probably overcompensation. There's a whole psychological profile behind the bully victim mentality too, that we're not going to get into today, but the whole point of it is, honestly, whether you're a male or female, whether you're a mom or a dad, whether you're a grandma, cousin, little kid, you have a voice and you're strong, and I stand by you. If you don't like something, speak up. Don't be quiet about it. We're in a world today, you need to step up and you need to change it. We need your help. So, whether it be selling cookies for a cause or saving up scarves for kids in Alaska, whatever it is, whatever your heart is drawn to do, because we need that. We need more light in the world. So, I would like to say to all the people that think that power and being powerful and not empowering others, if they think for 1 minute that that's the way to be, to make a better world, to make a better life, you are so mistaken. I wasn't raised that way, and my way may not be the best way, but raising people with respect and treating people with honor and respect, knowing people have their own history, their own heritage, and not belittling, not oppressing, and not labeling them without you walking down that same road or walking a mile in their shoes. And I'm not talking about going to a touristy spot in Puerto Rico where there's very little damage. I'm talking about see the people. When I went to South Africa, and I went there twice, I spoke with both, and I had wonderful conversations with people on the street, people that helped. They were getting paid very little money. They fought. They had to walk many miles for water and conveniences. They didn't even have modern plumbing where they lived. So I know what it's like because I spoke to them and I saw that and I was there and I left part of my heart and soul in that country. That culture was beautiful. It'd be really good if we actually respected and honored and treated people with more love than hate. Because we're teaching the next generation a lot of misaligned negativity that's unnecessary. However, there's a topic that needs to be brought up. I am so glad that you all came in. It's always a pleasure, and I enjoy hearing your input and what you feel and what you think, because this is, like Marissa said, and a lot of the people believe, and why a lot of people come here every week, is this is a dialogue. This is a conversation. This is not, you're wrong because of such and such. It's see other people's point of view. You might learn something. I can almost guarantee there'll be some kind of takeaway. We may walk away, agreeing to disagree. But hopefully we'll walk away with a little more knowledge than when we walked in. So that would be cool. And I think that is the life lesson there. So when it comes down to it, men, be kind. Show your vulnerability. Show love. And don't be nice just because you want to get some or get somewhere or prove something that you're not. Be authentic and be the real you. I can guarantee that life will be far better if you do it that way. Just a little advice. Just a little moonsight. You can choose what you want with that information. So I want to thank you all for being here. You guys were amazing, and it's just incredible to hear all of your opinions and all your interactive energy in this, in this broadcast, in this show, because I'll tell you, this is why I keep it live. All of you uplift and inspire me. So it's not just me. It's a village. It's my own. It's a tribe. You guys are part of my tribe. Whether you come in once, you drop one line, or you stay, or you come here every week. So I want to say thank you. I appreciate all you do, all your shares, all your reposts. All of that makes a difference. And I think if we throw that little one pebble, if we throw enough pebbles, it's going to cause a tsunami that makes the world a better place. And I think that's the way it should be. A more balanced, caring, real world, as opposed to a world as divided as it is. So, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. Lots of love, light, and good juju. And as I say every week, be strong, be amazing, be you. Thanks, guys. See you next week.